people who say he's squandered, I think that they're looking at a smaller box. You are just born with a different set of skills.
He didn't want to be validated by, say, Bollywood composers or artists, or he wanted to be big in Bollywood. No, he wants to be big in his own place and he's doing what he wants to do.
Zubeen was a creator. He wouldn't just have been a singer here, you know what I mean?
Was there a desperation to get the next big Bollywood break or to get on
No,
with
I don't
bigger
think so.
projects that you didn't
No, not at all. Not at all, because I think his mind was full of energy and he wanted to let it out.
As a musician, artist, star, I used to notice something early on, and I think most probably stayed on, is a tendency to quickly learn from a situation, from a person.
And definitely I would say we lost him too early.
In one word or one emotion or one thing about Zubin, if you had to put it, what would it be?
Light.
He was the light.
He was like a warrior, you know, never stop fighting.
There are no decisions. It's the way you want to live your life. Every day is a different day. What today is was not yesterday.
He didn't think that he was so big. I don't think that he realized that I am so big, I'm such a huge, you know, personality.
Some voices are not just heard, they are actually felt. And some songs are not just melodies, they become lifelines. So some musicians, they become a phenomena. Zubeen Garg, his songs have stood at the edge of despair and pulled people back from darkness. That was the power of his music. Please welcome Joi Barua, an acclaimed singer, composer, music producer from Assam, known for blending rock, soul and folk with Indian classical and world sounds. He has created a unique sonic identity that carries both Assamese roots and global influences. Welcome, Joi. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Also with us, Mr. Kalyan Baruah, one of India's top guitarists, a highly sought after recording artist and producer. He has also worked with legendary artists like A.R. Rahman, Zakir Hussain, KK, Lucky Ali and Pritam, and he has played along with Zubin on a number of occasions. Thank you, Kalyanda. Thank you for joining us and welcome.
Thank you.
On an opening note to both of you, actually, when I think of Zubin today, I mean, there are so many one-liners now. There are people who are saying Zubin is an emotion. He's become a phenomena. To me, if you ask me, the biggest realization was that Zubin has now displayed the power of music. And I want to discuss this aspect with the two of you. Perhaps you are already aware, but the likes of us who receive your music are only aware now. What is it, Joi, for you, Zubin's music?
I think at the onset, what really separates him from the rest of so many who were there in terms of composers and artists is that he brought the whole plethora of Assamese music onto one table. The whole variety of spiritual music at a core, 600 years of spiritual heritage that we have, all that. Music from that realm, the tribal diaspora of the 33 languages that the state has and more, sang in all of them. Contemporary music, redefining that particular palette once completely all over, bringing in electronica, newer sounds. So that, I think, is the most unique way of really identifying that kind of talent. And he didn't just bring it small, he brought it by the thousands. So
there is range, there is depth, there is this whole...
Not that numbers prove anything, but the sheer volume and magnitude of things he brought onto that table, and which opened up the rest of the world's eyes to what Assam was in particular, the Northeast in general, that it was this huge melting pot of cultures, thoughts and ideas. And if you look at it, I don't think that kind of volume exists anywhere else in the rest of India.
Beautifully said, Joi. In a way, what you said, also, what it means to me is that this existed despite Bollywood. This existed despite everybody else and without any sort of validation from the so-called mainstream, so-called established or industries. This existed and it was alive. Kalyanda?
Yeah, I think, see, the best part of him, what I always thought, his songs were very simple and it had the smell, it had the flavor of the earth, or, the Assamese culture, music, songs, everything. It was from the earth. It's not like, though it had a lot of technically progressive stuff and like Western ideas, but then the core soul of that music was always local. He always fused music with local Borgate and the rhythms, and he took it from the land itself. That was, I think, it became very close to people's heart because they're hearing something which is very close to people's heart, especially Assamese people. At the same time, it was presented in a very technically progressive way. It had his own flavor. He had his own touch to it, and like Joy said, I mean, it was huge. It was like a huge number of songs, and that's how everyone knows like Bollywood industry is so big, nothing's kind of sustains in front of Bollywood. But he could make a kingdom of his own, though it was regional in Assamese language, but it could counter the whole mainstream like a Hindi film industry. I mean,
and that's a huge learning, isn't it?
That's
that
a
when you
huge thing.
have
I
it in
mean,
you, when you're convinced about it, you don't need the validation of the.
You don't need. I mean, he didn't want to be validated by, say, Bollywood composers or artists, or he wanted to be big in Bollywood. No, he wants to be big in his own place, and he's doing what he wants to do and doing it happily with everything that possible for him emotionally, and it's connected to the land, and it's big.
Yeah. Is that how a musician, Joy, is? Like, are they wired in a way? I imagine when I now see Zubin's stories that he never cared to build a mansion or to live in luxury. Do you think that when you're a true musician, when you care for music, it is only natural that you will be like Zubin? Or was he still, an outlier?
No,
or
I think that's the necessary benchmark. An artist is supposed to create and create from within. And that within is your land. So despite whether an industry exists, if the industry mainstream didn't exist for India, does it mean that we stop creating? No, we create because we must. And
that's your raison d'etre, reason for living.
And that's your overhanging, and that's your raison, right? And he exemplified it, and he carried on the brilliant traditions of, say, somebody like a Bhupen Hazarika, who's like a pan-Indian, name and legend, right? World.
Yeah.
And so Assam always had it to kind of create an art on its own merit, regardless of what national implications were. That was never the concern. And he came in at a time of cable television, when the center had reached out to all the states when Hindi was permeating, and at that time he created in his own language. That's also the strength of people and culture.
But to roll out song after song after song, so many of them and so many hits, the quantum of hits that he managed to achieve is also phenomenal, isn't it?
It is. But
in his repertoire, look at his...
best part is like, I always I feel more strongly now. I mean, he could have easily come to Bombay, settle down over here and be part of this whole industry, be even bigger in the whole pan-India.
And he got that break.
Yeah, he got that break.
The thing is that even to get that break is not so easy.
No, he absolutely got it. But in a lot of people they do change after getting all that fame and, adoration that you get from the industry over here. But in spite of all that, he still didn't want to be...
But let's be fair, Joy. At that point of time, there would have been people who would say he has squandered his opportunities. He didn't use the opportunities that came his way. He squandered it away. He could have done better. How would you respond to those who felt that way?
See, the point is, what you make of your life is every day's effort. And so the point is, you don't reach any decision in one day. And actually, there are no decisions. It's the way you want to live your life. Every day is a different day. What today is was not yesterday. And he lived it that way. If I like it here, I'm going to do it here. If I like it there, I'm going to do it there. There was no overhanging thought like that, but the emotion. And if you really ask me, Zubeen was a creator. He wouldn't just have been a singer here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not demeaning
You
the whole
can't
art.
limit
I don't want to demean the art of singing, but he was a creator who thought from the point of view of movies, from the point of view of bringing age-old music to the table, of kind of, translocating things. That is a different set of skills, which you don't find, which is not necessary for a Bombay thing. Here you wait for the director, hone your voice and wait for the right call. But then you have to understand, people who say he's squandered, I think that they're looking at a smaller box. You are just born with a different set of skills for which you have to live differently.
And perhaps he owned music in a very different way because he was writing his music.
Yeah, I mean, that's a
and
thing,
he apparently
I
even
mean,
played the instruments. And,
yeah, he played a lot of
could have-
instruments. In fact, he used to play keyboard with us at one point of time. The thing is, like Joy saying, if he was here, it would have been like a one-directional thing. Oh, you want to be a singer, like
At the
to
behest of
write,
others.
to be a complete creative person. That freedom he got
Yeah, that makes
back
sense.
there. It would have been like you were a singer. But I mean, over here, tagline is a very huge thing. If you're a singer, you're always known as a singer. If I am a guitar player, I'm always known as a guitar player, even though I may do a lot of other things, But that tag
Doesn't go away. You're
doesn't-
stereotyped.
But also,
Yeah.
if you just broaden this kind of thing, if you broaden the plate, you will always find creators down the age, they are travelers. If you're just a singer in Bollywood, that's a different thing. You're demographically, this is here. Apart from a concert, you don't really, you wait for the phone call. But if you're a creator, you go around the country, you go around the world assimilating, learning,
Yeah.
culture, food. Bhupen Hazarika, Dylan, all of us. Kalyan himself is a creator. He travels. You cannot be.
Because you need the fodder, probably. You need that
you
fodder,
need-
and probably
you-
Zubin got it from
yeah.
Assam, from his people.
You need to
Right.
be wired into your
Yeah.
home, your earth,
Yeah.
and that makes all the difference.
But tell us your experiences of working with him, Joy. When did you last speak to him? How did you receive the news? Share with us your personal connect with Zubin, and now all that has happened since.
The broad arc was that he got me here. So, the 6 months I stayed with him.
Okay.
And,
So you are one of those musicians that everybody is saying Zubin has got people and
my
sheltered
career
them. So
started
you
here.
are one of them.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'd never sung in a studio before. I was doing other odd things and I was failing. Let me put it very simply.
Okay.
And then I called him from Delhi. I said, no, Zubin, I'm losing my weight. Can you help? He said, just come. So
because
that
you
was
were determined to do music. I mean, we went to the same school. I know you. You were
No,
into
I had
music.
my talents, but I was not sure about Bollywood. We grew up like that's the important question. We grew up in Northeast. It was the Beatles and Bhupen Hazarika for us. There was no midway. There was no segue rather. And Delhi happened post Assam, and I didn't know what to do. And it reached us a point that I had to call Zubin once, whom I knew from a few years. Zubin, I need help. So I came, and that was the help. I stayed with him. I learned to sing in the studio. So he was very high energy.
What was his Bombay phase like? How was he at that point of time?
Very, very high energy as how creators are.
But was he happy being here at that point of time, or you think he was restless and you knew, say, okay, he's going to perhaps go back to his roots? I mean, he doesn't belong here. What was he like at that time, at that phase?
That cannot be like a personal question. I'll tell you why. Because creators create because they have something to say. And it'll come from a point of view of being tied down to society, the politics of it, or the social, situations. So, very few creators would be really happy at any given point of time. Because
they always have a restless energy.
They have a restless thing, they have something.
Okay.
Man plays the guitar because he has something, that is where it comes from. If you go to a music director, you will have a brief.
You can't be placid.
You cannot be.
Yeah,
but if you
have to
don't have a music director, there is something else that happens.
Okay.
And that doesn't let you sleep. And he was that.
So if you saw that, you didn't think it has got to do with anything else except that he's a musician and that's how he is.
And a creator. And a
and a
creator
creator,
is
yeah.
like a Big Bang situation. There is seldom peace there. Always.
What was your experience of being with Zubin, working with
I
him?
actually knew him since he was 18, 19 years old.
Okay, you go back a
because
long
back in the days I used to do a lot of studio sessions in Guwahati. So I
That's
was
when he started, isn't it?
Yeah,
18,
yeah,
19 was
yeah.
his starting point.
Yeah, in fact, I think he recorded his first album called Anamika in 91, 92.
became a huge hit. I remember because we were in college those days.
And his cousin brother Utpal Sharma was producing, arranging the thing. So I was part of the whole team in a place called Studio Auditek. So there this guy walks in, and then that time we never used to hear the song from before, and you know, you will walk in and he'll sing the song and we'll learn and we'll produce and do things. So I was amazed by his energy, you know. I mean, the songs were kind of, those days, those songs kind of really like shockingly beautiful and different, you know. It was not like the regular stuff that we are doing. So we are kind of very excited doing that thing. And after that, I've been meeting him pretty, you know, frequently, and played lots of his albums, hung out with him, and then.
Is there anything that amazed you about him, about Zubin?
Yeah, I mean that whole energy and that constantly wanting to do something, no, was very, you know, other artists we work and people are like very chill or they are sort of little slow in doing, but he's always, you know, jumpy and kind of, I want to do this.
But sometimes people find that difficult and disconcerting, and you know,
No, I mean,
you almost find that okay, he's a difficult person to work with.
No, it's not.
You never had that
there
situation.
Was no, I never felt he was difficult because I like that energy. Because I mean, those days like we play half a song, we are recording and the song is coming amazing, and last 1 minute there's no power cut. We are here for 2-3 hours, you know, situations like that. We'll walk into the studio at 11 o'clock in the morning and we're out the next day early morning. So we had a lot of time to spend, talk about things. And then also when I moved to Bombay and then he came, then in fact, he came to record and they were all staying in my house only, me and, you know.
It's always like that because when we come and then somebody back home is in town and it's a natural thing for us to open the doors.
Correct. So they were staying with us. He was staying in my, you know, our house. So at that time I had a joint flat. And then,
So you were also very familiar with his Bombay phase.
Yeah.
How long a period of time was he here, and what was the body of work he did at that time?
See, like we used to work at a studio called Musicians Studio in Juhu, and he was a paying guest in a nearby place, you know.
Okay.
So sometimes we would meet outside the studio, and he'll say, "Ki Korea sir, like what you're doing?" I said, "No, I'm just a little free now. Come, he'll take me to his room." And that time he had bought this new keyboard called XP60, you know. I was very excited about it, and he would like play me all his songs, ask me like, what do you think, we'll do this. Like he was full of energy.
So every moment in time you're saying music was all that he did?
It was always there.
He didn't have a life beyond music? What else did he do, like beyond?
That, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I only met him through
work.
Music. It was, of course, we used to have like our Assamese society picnics and stuff. We are having fun, we were going to Madhaila in Gorai, staying overnight and having fun like any other regular thing. But the energy is like he's always. But
was there a desperation to get the next big Bollywood break or to get on
I
with
don't
bigger
think so.
projects that you did?
No, not at all. Not at all, because I think his mind was full of energy and he wanted to let it out. You know.
I'm going to ask a few difficult questions now, Joy, because obviously the conversation around Zubin, after the huge turnout in his funeral and those amazing stories of what we saw of how they have paid their tribute from right up there, the top politicians down to the little children, animals even, right? But then now the conversation, Joy, is also moving to this aspect of musicians getting exploited by unscrupulous elements. Zubin, a lot of people say, and this is a very strong narrative that is building, was exploited. There were elements in Assam. There were powerful people. There were vested interests who wanted to make money out of him, and he was a golden goose for a lot of people. And I remember, of course, a number of occasions when we have spoken, you have told me that you've tried to stay out of those situations. But do you think that Zubin got trapped somewhere in that web of people?
I think, people and toxicity is the same everywhere. But musicians get sucked because they are an emotional lot. It's just that it takes vis-a-vis like a financial worker who's just looking at balance sheet, It's a different mindset. And Zubin was emotional. I would say, though, I don't want to say anything with proof, but you would see maybe not the right kinds out there. You know, that was a little sad. You know, sometimes, and he was so stuck to his work. That
he didn't care about the money he was making, or
he didn't care about the people or thing. Like he's fine.
As long as he got an opportunity to do music.
And it was some universal love. Let me say, he respected people. Let me say, you know, it was not. You know, let me put it this way: he loved and respected people.
And trusted them, maybe a little.
It's like a very famous thing. Somebody said of Bhupen Hazarika. You know, I think it's the same plane. Bhupen said, "I don't distrust anybody." He actually gives it to you. Now, how you play with that is your deal, right? He said, "I don't distrust people." You know, so.
But how can you survive in this world if you go about trusting everyone?
So then you die young, right? And you know, there are irresponsibilities down the years, down the places, down in situations. You know.
So the people who are, again, a difficult question, and I know that none of us can say anything conclusively, but the people who are under scrutiny now, we're not naming anybody. What is your sense, that they are the right people who are under scrutiny, or you think that, you know, there's a lot more to come out?
So there is negligence. There is
There is
negligence on a lot of
negligence.
things, and hence I will always appreciate the judiciary looking into this, like rather than the public, you know, passing opinion on whether
there should be no media trial. It should be done in a process.
not a media trial. Not
because the tendency is always, even regional media, I'm saying, is always to, you know,
no media trial.
churn out conspiracy theories.
And then the whole system goes wrong. Then this follows that, and you know, then we follow the wrong examples.
I mean, generally we people are always very emotional.
Yeah.
I mean, being emotionally charged, and especially with an artist who's also very emotional and he's giving you music. Music is a very emotional thing. I mean, you know, you listen to music when you're sad, you listen to music at different emotional, you know, state of mind. And to talk about the exploitation is like musicians getting exploited everywhere in the world. Tell me about so many international
But it
artists.
should not lead to this sort of a consequence, isn't
no, obviously,
it? We have
this is
lost an
unfortunate.
asset for the entire community.
No, I mean, definitely not. People should not. But
do you think Zubin failed to draw the boundaries? Let me put it that way. Did he fail to draw the line? We all should know where to draw the line.
From a musician's perspective, it's very difficult to draw a line, honestly. You know, you have so much other things to do, which is so much bigger than accounts and who's doing what. So you don't generally bother to care about those kind of things.
But then, then you could be victim to a lot of unscrupulous people because they are out there.
It is out there.
You have to navigate around
I mean, that's why I said, like, from day one, musicians always been exploited. Tell me one incident, one artist who's not been exploited by their parents, by their managers, by their whoever, you know. It's always there.
It's like I think the CEO president of one of the biggest streaming services right now, let me not name it, has invested, or the music streaming services has invested that money into drones that carry bombs. And the musicians are pulling out. They said, I don't want my money to kill somebody in some parts of the world. Absolutely. So you are somewhere guilty. And that is also because of the nexus of a lot of people coming into things. And then to just bring it down to a laser point of Zubeen, over 25, 30 years,
I think, like,
there were elements.
For anyone who's so seriously into music, so emotionally supercharged, it's very difficult for them to kind of think
have
about
eyes and ears everywhere.
Eyes and ears. That's why if you have a good set of people around you, maybe you're lucky. You know.
That's
but it's very difficult. I mean,
99% of musicians aren't geared that way. To look into that 1% is. 99% of musicians are very emotional people.
And that 1%, they are different sets of music.
They are
not like regular.
They are very different.
Joy, why did Mayabini become such an anthem? Sing it for us. Tell us about this song. Everybody is singing it today.
I think technically it's written on an emotional plane, and it came out in a very nice movie. But you take everything out, the song still remains the same. And that is the strength of it, you know. And it's one of those things. It's just one of those composing things when a piece of thing.
I want to hear it in your voice, Joy. Please indulge us.
No, actually, we sang it on stage together. Actually, in one of my concerts recently, he just come on stage, and then he asked me, and then this whole trend started where I have to sometimes sing it, even if he's not there. And we recently did something, a tribute. So, Mayabini Ratir buko দেখা পালো তোমার ছবি ধরা দিলা গোপনে আহি হিয়াৰ কোণত তুমি যে মোৰ শুকান মনৰ নিয়ৰৰে চেঁচাটো পাৰ নামি অহা ৰ'দৰে মোৰ দেহৰ প্ৰতি ধুমুহাৰ সতে মোৰ বহু যুগৰে নাচো এন্ধাৰো সঁচা মোৰ বহু দিনৰে আপোন নিজানো গানবোৰ শেষ হ'ব জানো তোমাৰ বুকু.
So lovely. So that line, Dhumuhar hote mur bohu dinore nasun, like it's almost like Kalyan, like he's so talking about his life as if, you know, he's gone through these tempests and these, you know, tumultuous times in his life. Are you aware of that phase of Zubin's life?
Unfortunately, towards last couple of years, I've not been in touch with him regularly. I am completely not aware of things. I knew he was writing great songs, so wherever I met him, then we spoke briefly. I met him for a longer period in Bangalore 2023. We were in the same hotel, we were hanging out, having breakfast and, you know. But, his songs had that ability to make you feel that it's a song of your life.
And it's a song for everyone.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
faces those Dhumuha, the storm in their
Right.
lives, the, you know, the
Every
darkness
song,
in your life. So
correct. Every
you
song is
relate
like
to
becomes popular. People accept it when you can make that song as if it's for
Your
you. It's
song.
part of your life. Every popular song has that like kind of quality, you know. And his songs, obviously, in Assamese people, we felt it more. Even people here also, way back in 94, 95, Bombay people were so crazy about his songs, you know. I know a couple of guys right now, unfortunately I can't remember their names. They were just like, we have to do this. Guy, Zubin was like a hot name over here.
But the fact that he wrote his music, do you know of a lot of musicians who do that, or they're rare breed in your experience, who write it and then sing it and then there is that?
It's a very rare thing. It's not everybody does it. They may be doing it. There are a lot of people who may be doing it, but probably it's not been published or, you know, not been so open to public like that.
No, what I wanted to ask is when they write their own songs and then when they perform,
it's something
it's
special.
A different level.
It's something special.
Something special.
Because rather than getting someone to write your thoughts and what if you write the words itself, it comes from you like 100%, you know. Not just
it's the same
melody.
in my business as well. Like when I do a story, I can get somebody to write it for me and I just read off the prompter. But when I'm writing it, there's some stories I want to write it myself. When I write it, and I can also see in my own, when I view it, I can see that I had written it myself, so I am much more animated. But
Absolutely,
tell me, I want to know about the spiritual quality, Joy. You and me were discussing it also, that is it for a lover, a girlfriend, someone you love, or is it someone divine that he is talking about, that you come as a dewdrop to my parched soul?
I think it has to be seen in a bigger canvas always, you know, and it can boil down to the smallest emotion, and but you write it with a very big canvas, and your lover could be God, God-like, and God mode. And then God would be your lover. So you don't know. I think one can never ask or find out why the artist has written that way, despite of what them telling you. It's the inarticulation of the moment that actually brings magic to it. It's like a guitar note. Since we are with guitarists and we are creators, you sometimes just because you word it doesn't mean you have explained it. You've just given it a degree of tangibility. Words are not the ideas. There's an idea that has flown out as a word, but they are not equivalent. You know what I mean?
Okay.
This side is not equal to this side. He just used this as an expression. But you know, the pain and storm as you think. I think one pertinent and overhanging storm that stayed with him was the loss of his sister, and that very horrific accident. And incidentally, we'd met a little before that, and that night I'd stayed with him. And in the morning,
tell us that story, Joy, because a lot of my audience wouldn't know about Jonki Borthakur, who used to, his sister used to sing with him.
Yes, and they have lovely music together, and they were on stages, and it was kind of set. The brother and sister, they were kind of set on stage. They were young.
This is early 90s we are talking about, right?
Yeah, early 90s, mid and mid later. And they were this lovely brother sister who would be singing away, and innocent songs. Like when you have your sister on stage, it's an innocent, beautiful energy. It's like the family coming together, doing beautiful things, well known. But at the same time, the songs had this kind of a whole family kind of intimate situation. It was not a Bollywood kind of thing, it had this thing. And then they were supposed to perform, and that night before, Zubin and I had met for something, and we kind of stayed up the whole night, and we slept in the same room. And in the morning at breakfast, we were the friends. He said, would you like to come? I said, for some reason, I had to get back to some place. I said, no, why don't you carry on? And it was that fateful night when it happened. And it seemed Zubin was in the same car, but he went back to the bus to, kind of
practice with his band or something?
No, just to gel out and hang out with his friend. And his sister was in the car. He just moved back, and then this whole thing happened. But that
his sister's car met with an accident, and she died on the spot.
And and that's the reason sometimes he helps a lot of people. He used to help a lot of people on the streets who met with accidents. He said he felt nobody should be gone for the lack of medical care or just for the express delivery to a hospital. So that's why you see a lot of places he would step down, call the police, call an ambulance for accident victims. But that was an overhanging thing. He would reminisce about that, and that was a thing that stayed. The darkness stayed with
So
him.
that pathos, an element of pathos that is there in his music, you're saying it could probably stems from that.
That was a strong motivator.
Yeah, for an artist, every small little things matter.
They permeate through in his
for
music.
event like that, unfortunate thing like that would have a huge impact on anybody's, thought
And that
process.
becomes a fountain,
Yeah,
a source
definitely.
for more
I mean,
creativity.
we have issues with the smallest little things, and it stays with you for some time. And you deal with it. Maybe sometimes you express it out, you play or do something with it. But
aren't musicians lucky that way, Kalyanda? Because see, when we feel something, we don't have an outlet. But as a musician, you'll play it out. You'll give life to that pathos. Only a musician can do
I don't
that.
know if
We
it's
can't.
a lucky thing. It's just that it's just part of the whole nature of being a musician or being involved with the creative process. I mean, it happens to directors, singers, all sorts of creative people who are into this creative business. Every small little thing matter, and sometimes to ideate that, to express that, songs come out, creations come out, and you don't know, sometimes you don't even know where it originated from, You think like, but every little thing is boiling over there and it's kind of troubling you.
And globally, it's like that.
It's
Across the
always
globe for musicians.
Everywhere.
You channel your life into what you do, and then you don't call it creation. It's just a flow state, right? And you channel your life, and that life, whatever you feel, and I think people like Zubin, we channel that feeling, we channel that sadness, and it comes out naturally in the form of a song, a note, a melody, and that is the root of good creation. So coming back to the whole spiritual context of it, it is because the musician emotes what he has. And then you are right in the center of the emotion. So if you sometimes feel spiritual in front of a musician, that is what a musician is supposed to be giving it to you, like, It's supposed to take you to that state, and that is an escape. Where God is an amazing escape from your mundane life.
That was my feeling with Mayabini. I felt as if it's talking about the divine. And different people are looking at it differently. But the fact that Zubin should say that play this song when I die.
But also in context, because of Mayabini, I think also to put it in context, I think we should always, we don't have him with us, but we should, I would love to know what was the brief from the director, or why you create that song for that particular time in the evening. I think we would love to find out what was the brief on which you created the song, because you created for a movie, right? And it's come from the director, from a story. So these actually make very interesting, points of conversation,
Yeah,
education,
yeah, it does, it does.
awareness.
There's another song, I mean, since we are talking about Zubin's music, I mean, I was in college, I mean, when Zubin was at his peak, like early 90s, like I said. So, like the Bihu, you know, the quality about Bihu songs is there is that nook joke, there is that flirtatious element, a boy-girl flirting element in Bihu songs. And somewhere, even in his songs, and of course he sang a lot of Bihu, he did it so beautifully. Even in that song where he says, "Ha hile tu mi moni mukuta hore," like when you smile, it's like, you know, gems coming, flowing. You know, there's so much beauty in that song. And as a young girl growing up in Assam, when I heard that song for the first time, it brought a smile to my face. You know, it's like one of those things that touches you, that, you know, you feel in a dull moment, you play that song, and then if somebody is telling you, listen, smile, you know, when you smile, the world is a beautiful place. So that is what Zubin was for a lot of us. I mean, just sharing my own feeling about his music.
No, I think he brought in the whole contemporary pop bit and kind of a very universal tone to that delivery and expression. That, I think, was really a strength on which the music changed.
As we close this conversation, I want to have a word from the both of you about the humane side of Zubin, which people have discovered now. A lot of us didn't know. Frankly, I didn't know that to this extent he was involved with people's problems on a day-to-day life, where he would just give out money for somebody's school fees or somebody's medical bills, and he was doing it on a regular basis. Nobody has an account of it, how much he would have distributed in this manner and how many people he would have helped. No wonder, therefore, we saw the outpouring of emotion and the turnout. But did you know this side of Zubin, that he had this, you know, philanthropic side and humane side to him, for which
I
so
don't
many
know
people
whether he
loved
ever
him?
stumbled onto that word philanthropy, but it came
He
with
never
him.
thought of it like,
He never thought of it, but it came with him, and you know, his house was an open house. You know, anybody and everybody could come and have a meal.
And you are an example of that, how he opened the doors.
I'm one of the primest examples of
benefactors of the human
philanthropy
side.
he didn't know. You know, I'm the primest example of what something he never reckoned. But you know, it was an open house, and you could come, have experience, be aware, learn. And I think he liked people who understood from this and passed it on.
He did it with that purpose as well, that when I do it,
I think he would never
you
tell you.
should do it too.
You know, he would never tell you, but I felt that, you know, he understood what is to pay it forward. You know, that I would sometimes feel, though he would never mention it.
It was very unintentional
Very unintentional
process, and that is his side, which even now I'm coming to know, like, quite elaborately. It's just like that.
And again, he didn't expect any recognition
or
from any of it. He just did
I
it because it came naturally to him.
expect a lot of other people would have been talking a lot about it, you know. But he didn't care for that, because that was the side of him which was very natural to him, I guess. I've heard stories that he'll put his hand in the pocket and whatever money comes out, he'll give it to. And the other good thing, I mean, I'm beginning to realize more and more now that he didn't think that he was so big. I don't think that he realized that I'm so big, I'm such a huge, you know, personality.
But he used to say he's loved. He's loved.
He's loved, but the thing is, like, you know, I see a lot of people walking with like so many people around them, taking care of them, or being away from people. But I've seen he's eating anywhere, sitting anywhere, going anywhere. I mean, he didn't have. I mean, that can happen only if you don't think of yourself as too big, you know. You know, moment you know ki, oh, I'm so and so, have to be like this. He
lived stardom in a very different way. He was a star, but the way he lived that stardom.
Absolutely, he lived it like a normal person. Anybody could come and approach him, anybody could talk to him, or have a chat, or have a picture, or whatever. But I see a lot of people don't do that. You know.
Also, I mean, you know, as a musician, artist, star, I used to notice something early on, and I think most probably stayed on, is a tendency to quickly learn from a situation, from a person. Like in any event or a person, there is an academic merit, right? There's something that makes that person. He would figure out what was that, or a song. Though he would capture the emotion very quickly, what has made the song work? So that pragmatism of that learning is basically what sustained him for so long. The emotion is fine, and a lot of people do it, but to understand what makes something click or tick, a dog. Like he was telling somebody about Google. He said, people understand what Google? It's like 1 followed by 100,000 zeros. Like if he knew a word, he knew what it stood for.
Oh.
That
he was intuitive, and
if he knew a song, he would tell you something that you might probably not know. And he wanted to gravitate with the people who knew something that he didn't.
Yeah, intuition is such a huge thing.
Huge.
For anyone who's creative to understand the situation quickly.
What do you want to learn from it?
Yeah.
Just because you're walking through it doesn't mean you learn. Are you really open? Are your receptors open?
We received it in its true meaning.
Right.
In his very last interview, now we know it has gone viral with Rita Chaudhary Baido. Some of the things, I mean, I was blown away. Like I couldn't imagine that did he see his death so near that he spoke about the ocean in that manner, Hagorkhon Subomonjai and things like that, which now in hindsight, it almost appears as if did he have a premonition about his own death? And even the interviewer for that matter, I mean, the way as if, please say it all today because we don't know whether you'll say it again. For her even to bring that out of him, of course, all kudos to her. But what did you make of Zubin in that? Because we have to talk about the last solid piece that we have about Zubin talking about himself, right?
Maybe, he was a pragmatic thing. He knew what he was. You know what I mean? Maybe he did. It remains a question mark. But if you sat down with him, he would exactly tell you where he was. There was no...
No, I'm asking you, did he have a premonition? Why would he talk in so much?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe he did.
Okay, that's what you're saying. Maybe he did.
Maybe he realized his work was done. I feel he could have lived on 20 years and done something else. Maybe he was just done. Sometimes you feel you're done, right?
But one thing he did say that he's done with, he said, I'm done with my singing, I want to do movies.
Maybe the stories were told. It doesn't mean where you do 100 stories. You might do 6 and feel amazing about it, right? You might do 5. There's no number for what makes you feel right? He did it. And it's not about big, small, whatever. It's whatever makes your heart feel right. Maybe if you asked him, are you done? He would have said, I'm done. I don't know if that question came. If you asked him, he said, I'm done.
Did you feel, Kalyanda, that Zubin was done for one lifetime or he had more to offer and we lost him too early?
Definitely, I would say we lost him too early. I mean, I'm sure he had a lot more to offer. I mean, to talk about, he's saying, I'm done with singing. Maybe he was singing for bigger things, and which he already was. I mean, making film is a much more bigger creative canvas than,
Yeah, he says
singing.
that himself, that I want to go to
and
a broader canvas.
Where your expression could be multifold. It's just like, not just to one thing, film is a bigger canvas. So he thought maybe he was already being very successful about it, I believe. So he probably wanted to do that. But knowing how restless he was, emotionally or creatively, he always wanted to create. Obviously, it makes sense for him to be moving on to filmmaking and stuff.
In another creative space.
Yeah. I mean, I would never think he did it all.
You still thought that we could have had much more of Zubin.
Just imagine if he was like, say, later part of his life, his work would be much more matured, much more,
So we are deprived of that. Today.
Obviously, we are deprived. We would have got much more of him.
That's why you feel this is the reason why there's a sense of collective loss that we feel today.
Absolutely. I mean, someone to go at 52 is a very young age these days. So I'm sure he had a lot more to offer. He would have heard so many great things, great movies, films, or bigger landscape.
Also, when we speak in terms of work, the whole philanthropic bit of it. So many people would be orphaned right now.
Orphaned, absolutely.
That is what I really feel really bad.
10 to 15 kids he had adopted. Nobody knew about it.
And just
So
to help a
simple,
just to help a farmer or just somebody to set up a shop, a tea stall. There were so many people who benefited and moved on to doing things.
Maybe the best tribute to him is that more people should learn to do that now.
True. Yeah. That is what you take forward. That is the learning from a life event like this.
Absolutely. Quick last word. I know it's very tough if I tell you, say in one word what Zubin is, but people are calling him, he was a maverick, he was a non-conformist, he didn't fall in line. And yeah, I mean, sure, all of that, right? He was an outlier. But in one word or one emotion or one thing about Zubin, if you had to put it, what would it be?
Light.
He was the light. Wow, okay. So that explains it, I guess, you know, why people are feeling the way they are feeling today.
Yeah.
Philinda, anything that comes to your mind when
I
if you were to
mean,
say it in one
word
thought?
is such a difficult thing. I think like he was like a warrior, you know,
he's a warrior.
never stop fighting. So and he fought it till the end. I mean, I'm.
And he said, I am like Alexander, I am like Napoleon.
Did he? Oh.
He said that.
I'm just imagine, you know, anybody like him with his health not being very supportive. A lot of people would have taken it easy. Things would have been, you know, you're chilling or resting or holidaying. But did he ever rest? No, he didn't. I mean,
Never sat on his laurels, basically.
He lived his life his way and he did things his way. You know.
Truly.
Okay, thank you so much, Joi
Thank
Barua
you.
and Kalyan Baruah. Thank you for
Thank you so
coming
much.
to Free Press House, joining in this
Thank you.
conversation. Really insightful for me to hear your thoughts on
Yeah.
Zubeen Garg. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.